Hello, and welcome to another lesson from Level Up Mathematics. In today's lesson, we will be exploring solving equations with variables on both sides. Now, you have seen this before in previous grades, but today we will be focusing on problems that are a little more complex in that they normally will involve parentheses or combining like terms. So when we're solving equations with variables on both sides, we have a couple of steps we need to employ to reach our final solution. So in step one, you want to simplify both sides of the equation by removing all parentheses and combining all like terms. Then you're going to use inverse operations to collect all the variables on one side of the equation. Then you'll use inverse operations to collect the constant terms on the other side, the opposite side of the equation. And lastly, you'll solve and check your solution. So in example 1, it says solve each of the following. So in problem A, we have the opposite of the quantity of 6r plus 8 is equal to 4 times the quantity of 17 minus r. So in step 1, it said to remove all the parentheses and combine like terms. So let's do that real quick. So you might want to put a 1 here to remind yourself that you are multiplying each term in the parenthesis by negative 1. So negative 1 times 6r is negative 6r. Negative 1 times positive 8 is negative 8, so minus 8. 4 times 17 gives us 68. And then 4 times negative r gives us negative 4r. So we did step 1. We removed all the parentheses. In step 2, it says use inverse operations to collect variables on one side. So what I usually do is I start on the right side, and there's your variable. You want this variable, this negative 4r, to go to the opposite side. So to do that, the opposite of minus 4r is plus 4r. So now we'll simplify this. Negative 6r plus 4r is negative 2r. Drop the minus 8 down, equals 68, and this term zeroes out. Okay, so now we have an equation, a two-step equation that we're going to solve using inverse operations. So we'll add our 8. So negative 2r, this term zeroes out, equals 76, and then we'll divide by negative 2. So 76 divided by negative 2 gives us negative 38. Now, to check your solution, I'll be using my calculator to check the solution. If your teacher requires you to show the check step, then you could show it on your paper, but I'm just going to show it on the calculator. So to show it on the calculator, you're going to type in your original equation, but everywhere you see an R, you're going to type in your solution, which was negative 38. So I'll put negative parenthesis 6 times our solution, which was negative 38, plus 8, and I want to get that value, 220. All right, now I'll do the other side. 4 parenthesis 17 minus our solution, which was negative 38, close parenthesis. So notice that we got 220 on the left side and 220 on the right side. So this solution, it checks. It made both sides of the equation true. All right, let's look at problem B. We have 5x minus the quantity, x minus 18, is equal to 6 minus 2 times the quantity, x plus 15. So before you start, I would probably put a negative 1 here so that you remember to multiply everything in the parenthesis by negative 1. So we'll drop our 5x straight down. Then I'll multiply everything in the parenthesis by negative 1. So negative 1 times x is negative 1x. Negative 1 times negative 18 is positive 18 equals. Now, be very careful here because many students are tempted to subtract the 6 minus 2 as their first step. But remember, in order of operations, we always do the parentheses first. So we want to multiply everything in that parenthesis by negative 2 before we start. So drop the 6 straight down, and then multiply negative 2 times x gives me negative 2x. And negative 2 times 15 gives me negative 30. All right, so we've removed our parentheses. Now we need to combine like terms. So on the left side of the equation, we can combine 5x minus 1x. And on the right side of the equation, we can combine the 6 and the negative 30. All right, so 5x minus 1x is 4x plus 18, which is equal to negative 2x. And 6 minus 30 is negative 24. All right, now we want to move our variables to the left side of the equation. So again, that means I want to start over here with my variable. Okay, again, I start on the right side with my variable, and I use inverse operations to move it to the other side. So the opposite of negative 2x is positive 2x. So 4x plus 2x gives me 6x plus 18 equals, the zeroes out, and I'm left with negative 24. Don't forget that negative. All right, now I have just a two-step equation to solve, so we're just going to subtract the 18 and divide by 6. So negative 24. I feel like this is a place where a lot of people are going to make mistakes, so I highly recommend you putting in your calculator negative 24 minus 18, and that would be negative 42, and then we'll divide by 6. So x equals negative 42 divided by 6. Now, to check your solution, we're going to plug it in everywhere we see an x on the left side. So instead of 5x, I'll put 5 times negative 7 minus parenthesis, negative 7 minus 18, close parenthesis, and that gave me a value of negative 10. Now let's try the right side. 6 minus 2, parenthesis, negative 7 plus 15, close parenthesis, and that also gave me negative 10. So my solution checked out. If you wouldn't have got the same answer, that means you probably did something wrong and you want to go back. You usually just made a mistake with a negative or something. Okay. All right, problem C. We have 8 times the quantity y plus 4 minus 2 times the quantity y minus 1 is equal to 70 minus 3y. So I'll start by multiplying everything in this first parenthesis by 8. So 8 times y is 8y. 8 times 4 is 32. Now I'm going to multiply everything in the second parenthesis by negative 2. So negative 2 times y, negative 2y. Negative 2 times negative 1, positive 2. Now, there's nothing we can do on the right side, so I just bring it down. Now, I have some like terms that need to be combined on the left side. So 8y can be combined with negative 2y, and 32 can be combined with positive 2. So 8y minus 2y is 6y. 32 plus 2 is 34. And that's equal to 70 minus 3y. All right, so we did step 1. We removed the parentheses and combined like terms. Now we want to collect the variables on the left side of the equation. So again, I start on this side. I want to move that negative 3y to the opposite 3y to the opposite side. So I'm going to use inverse operations. So I'll add 3y to both sides. So this would be 9y plus 34 equals 70. Now I've got a two-step equation here, so we'll subtract the 34. So 70 minus 34. So 9y is equal to 36, and then we'll divide by 9. So 36 divided by 9 gives me 4. Now to check my solution, we'll take 8 parenthesis 4 plus 4 close minus 2 parenthesis 4 minus 1 close, and we get a total of 58. All right, now look at the other side. 70 minus 3 parenthesis 4, and I also get a total of 58. So my solution checks out, and therefore 4 is the correct solution to this equation. All right, pause the video right now and try problem D on your own. All right, let's welcome back and see how you did. So when I distributed the 2, I got 80 minus 10p is equal to 10p plus 5 minus 5p. Now there was nothing to combine on the left side, but on the right side I noticed that I had a 10p minus a 5p, which gave me 5p plus 5. Then I wanted to move this 5p to the other side, so the opposite of positive 5p was minus 5p. So 80. Negative 10p minus 5p is negative 15p, and that's equal to positive 5 because this zeroed out. Then I'll subtract 80. Subtract 80 to get negative 15p equals negative 75, and then divide. And that would give me positive 5. Now to check your solution, we'll do 2 parenthesis 40 minus 5 times 5, close, and that gives me a total of 30. On the other side, we have 10 times 5 plus 5 parenthesis 1 minus 5, close parenthesis. That also gives me 30, so my solution checks out. If you made a mistake on this problem, I want you to pause the video again and go back and rework that problem correctly. If you did not make a mistake, great. That means you're ready to move on. All right, now we also can sometimes have problems with decimals, but just know they're the same as all the other problems we're doing. You can use your calculator if decimals kind of stump you. So in this first problem, we're going to get rid of our parentheses by multiplying 4 times 0.5n, which would be, that's just 1/2. 0.5 is 1/2, so 1/2 of 4 is 2n. And then 4 times negative 3 is negative 12 equals n minus. Now here we'll multiply everything in this parenthesis by negative 0.25. So negative 0.25 times 12 would give us negative 3. And then we have negative 0.25 times negative 8. Negative 0.25 times negative 8. And that would give us positive 2n. Now on the left side, we have nothing to combine. But on the right side, we need to combine n plus 2n. So that would be 3n minus 3. All right, now we want to take this term and move it to the left side. So subtract 3n from both sides. And that would give me negative 1n minus 12 equals negative 3, because that zeroed out. Add your 12. So negative 1n equals 9, and then divide by negative 1. So n equals negative 9. Now, let's check that solution for parenthesis 0.5 times negative 9 minus 3. So that side equals negative 30. So over here we have negative 9 minus 0.25 parenthesis 12 minus 8 times negative 9 close parenthesis, and that side equals negative 30. So that checks out. All right, pause the video and try problem F on your own. All right, welcome back. Let's see how you did. So I brought down the 17. I multiplied everything in this parenthesis by negative 3 to get negative 3w minus 15. On the other side, I multiplied everything by 6 to get 6w plus 30, and then drop down your 2w. Now, combine like terms. On the left side, we can combine this with this. And on the right side, we can combine this term with this term. So that gives me negative 3w plus 2 equals 4w plus 30. Then as my next step, I moved the 4w to the opposite side, so I subtracted 4w. Not 4w. Yeah, I don't know why I wrote m there. So that would be negative 7w plus 2 equals, this zeroes out, and I'm left with 30. I subtracted 2 to get negative 7w equals, let's see, 7w equals 28, and then I divided by negative 7, which gives me w equals negative 4. All right, let's check this solution. So 17 minus 3 parenthesis, negative 4 plus 5. So there's our left side, has a value of 14. On the right side, 6 parenthesis, negative 4 plus 5 minus 2 parenthesis, negative 4. And that side equals 14. So this checks out. Pause the video and correct anything that you might have missed. All right. If you got problem F right, I want you to pause the video again and try problem G on your own. All right, welcome back. Let's see how you did. I distributed the 0.75 to get rid of my parentheses. 0.75 times 20 gives me 15. On this side, I brought down the 2, and I multiplied everything in this parenthesis by 0.5. So that would be 0.5x. 0.5, that would be minus 1. Then I combined like terms. So on this side, I got 0.5x. 2 minus 1 is 1. Then I subtracted 0.5x from both sides. So this was 0.25x plus 15 equals 1. Subtract 15. So 0.25x equals negative 14. So negative 14 divided by 0.25 gives me negative 56. Then I checked my solution, 0.75 parenthesis negative 56 plus 20. So that left side gave me a value of negative 27. On the other side, 2 plus 0.5 parenthesis negative 56 minus 2. And I got the same value on both sides, so this solution checks. So my solution here is negative 56. Pause the video and fix anything that you might have gotten wrong. If you got everything right, you're ready to try problem H on your own. So pause the video one more time and try problem H. All right, welcome back. So in step 1 on problem H, I brought down the negative 5x. Then I multiplied everything in my parenthesis by negative 1. So negative 1 times negative 7 was positive 7. And negative 1 times negative 4x was positive 4x. On the other side, I had negative 6x plus 8. Then I combined like terms on the left side. So negative 5x plus 4x was negative 1x plus 7 was equal to negative 6x plus 8. I added 6x to get 5x plus 7 equals 8. I subtracted 7 to get 5x equals 8 minus 7, which is 1. And then I divided by 5, which gave me 1/5. Now, when I check this problem, I'm going to use the decimal equivalent because it's easier to write, to put it in the calculator as a decimal than it is as a fraction. So I'm going to take negative 5 times 0.2 minus parenthesis negative 7 minus 4 times 0.2, close. And that gives me a value of 6.8. On the other side, negative 2 parenthesis 3 times 0.2 minus 4, and that also gives me a value of 6.8. Now, the answer I'm going to box in is the 1/5. Because there were no decimals in my original problem, I don't want to put a decimal answer. So I'm going to say that x equals 1/5 is the solution, which is also equivalent to 2/10. And that concludes today's lesson, solving equations with variables on both sides.